if you have product pages with no helpful content on there, nothing that really helps the user or helps the customer, then they're going to start ranking lower by those other things.
Yeah, and I think just adding on to that, put yourself in the shoes of your customer, put yourself in the shoes and go to your page and ask yourself, do I actually care about the information on there? I know that sounds really brutal.
Think helpful content as much as possible. That is the key thing. Your product listings, they're helpful to the user. Your images, they're helpful to the user. The videos, the testimonials, anything that we've said before, really. You just need to make those product listings as valuable as possible to the user. People are looking for before they buy. So really just try and create as much value as you can within every single product listing, and you're good to go, really. That's the sort of thing that Google are looking for, because if it's all fluff, Google don't care. But if it actually adds value, they will care.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Obviously this is the Inside Digital podcast. With me today I've got Tom Hughes. He is one of our campaign managers, but he is our CRO and product page specialist. In this episode we wanted to talk a little bit about the recent core update to Google, and specifically how that will impact e-commerce stores. So I'll have questions for Tom. We're going to be talking about what businesses can do to combat that, what we need to be prepared for, and what it actually means, because there's so much information about what it will actually do, and people get scared about what it means for their business. But the core principles of making your product pages as good as possible still apply here, so it'll be all good. So Tom, do you just want to walk us through quickly what's happened, really, like how this is going to impact e-commerce businesses?
So obviously, as we know, Google likes to update Google, and you have to abide by Google's rules in a way. So when algorithms change, you should try and change with them in a way. And obviously, you don't know it. We as marketers don't know as much as you guys do when it first happens, but then we learn, and then that's what we have learned right now, and that's what we're going to try and tell you, and just give you some tips about how you can update your e-commerce stores to ride along with this algorithm update from Google, and hopefully improve your rankings and everything for future sales and all that stuff as well. So it's quite interesting, isn't it? So first of all, we've got a sort of what happened and what you can do next about it, which is quite helpful, really, I think. So first of all, what happened is product pages with thin content lost visibility. So if you have product pages with no helpful content on there, nothing that really helps the user or helps the customer, then they're going to start ranking lower by those other things. What you can do about this is sort of audit your first sort of top 20 product pages, have a look at them, see how they're doing, rewrite any templated or manufacturer provided prescriptions. So anything that will sort of default, I guess, you should probably look at those, make sure it's really specific to the product it's trying to sell, and just go from there, really. And you should optimize them as much as possible to make sure they're helpful to their customers. So put yourself in the customer's shoes, really. That's what we're going to do.
And if you were a small business and you haven't invested in like complex analytics tools and that, how do you go about finding what your top performing pages are?
Yeah, it's a good question. Research, really. I know that other people are trying to, other stores are trying to increase their rankings on Google as well. It's always a competition. But the research you can do, obviously, if you have a product, you know it as well, and you know what people like about it, you could add the sort of benefits inside the headlines, stuff like that, to really put yourself out for difference to other customers, to other stores out there.
Yeah.
So there are ways of looking at it from a sort of a expert point of view. If you already have a store, you know what works.
Yeah. And the back end data shows that as well. So like if you're an e-commerce store and you're quite new into the game, it's quite likely you work with Shopify anyway. It's quite likely I hope sites listed there.
Their analytics are really good, and they're always working with Google probably to help you increase rankings.
Yeah, so there'll be a section within that in the analytics in Shopify that breaks it down by your product sales and product categories and shows your best performing ones by there. So I think with this, when you suggest to audit your top 20 pages, just have a look at that from like best performing down, and then just work downwards like that, because you'd always want to catapult sorry, can't talk today. You'll always want to capitalize on what's working best. So you can just continue to increase the value of that and increase your return on investment. So,
yeah, it's helpful. These tools these days are amazing.
Yeah.
And you should utilize them as much as possible.
Yeah.
Even if algorithms change,
That's
these
it.
tools are always going to be here to help you.
Yeah,
So,
and if you don't, obviously, if you're not using Shopify or your CMS doesn't facilitate that, Google Analytics is free. It's your friend. Google Search Console as well. If you particularly want to have a look at how those pages are performing from an organic perspective as well, those are free. So definitely set those up if you haven't already, because it gives you like all the insight you really need at a foundational level without having to pay for, bespoke reports or anything like that.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Another point to make on this one as well is because if you have a product that has maybe a title, fair enough, and an image, but there isn't a lot else to do, and you're looking at the listing and it looks a little thin still, you can always add value as much as possible. So including FAQs, genuine testimonials for the actual product itself, and comparisons, user guides, all the sort of things that people are looking for before they buy. So really just try and create as much value as you can within every single product listing, and you're good to go, really. That's the sort of thing that Google are looking for, because if it's all fluff, Google don't care. But if it actually adds value, they will care.
Yeah, and I think just adding on to that, put yourself in the shoes of your customer, put yourself in the shoes and go to your page and ask yourself, do I actually care about the information on there? I know that sounds really brutal, but does your page genuinely answer the things that you need to answer? Is it really clear what you're actually selling? The whole embodiment of what's in it for me, you really need to be asking yourself that at every stage.
Exactly. Literally, I brought those pull along buggy trolley things the other day for my daughter when we were going to the beach, stuff like that. So I brought one of those today. The only reason I brought it is because I went to the testimonials and saw other kids sitting in it.
Yeah, perfect.
So, and that was no images on there apart from that testimonial, and that is literally what made me buy it. So it was a helpful content, valuable to me, and so therefore I hit add to cart.
It couldn't be more relevant. It speaks to exactly what you need.
Yep.
It's showing you a child in there which you can perfectly envision as your daughter in that. Pain point solved, done.
That's it.
What more do you really need as a consumer?
Yeah.
The
title could have been crap, but the actual value of it was, oh my god, I need this.
It's so clear.
Yeah, so
and
clear.
That's what you need to be doing at every stage. Make it ultra clear
Yeah.
what it is you are trying to do there.
Yeah, and that's how you win on Google as well. The algorithm wants that. So
and that will never change. That's the core principle of CRO. And Google will reward that, because the other ranking indicators that aren't really as reported on, such as time on page, bounce rate and stuff like that, if your information is relevant and people are staying and engaging with it, you'll only benefit by being more visible as a result of that. 100%. So it's just a net win.
Yeah,
net win, really.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
The next point of what happened with this core update is schema and structured data sort of matter a lot more now. So what we mean by that is sort of ensuring products use updated schema, like the offer, review, the actual product itself, and structure it in a way that Google is reading it. Tricky one, because how the hell do you know what Google is doing all the time, and how do you know it's reading it? But there are ways of laying out pages or laying out the back end of websites to help with this sort of thing. It's very SEO based. But it's extremely important these days. Everyone's saying SEO is dead. It's definitely not, because these sort of things are always happening in the back end. And that sort of thing.
Yeah, and schema itself gets a little bit technical as well. It's not your average thing that someone without some web experience or is going to be able to go into the back end and figure out. So that might be one thing that
isn't it?
It's something we would suggest if you're not really sure on what you're doing with that, to get professional help. I mean, Tillison Consulting is an agency in Portsmouth.
Always here to help.
Definitely talk to us. No, but it's worth getting an expert opinion on that, because it can be a little bit fiddly, and
it can go the other way sometimes. If you unfortunately do not know what you're doing and can play with it too much, it can unfortunately go the other way. So it's worth getting an expert opinion on it sometimes.
Definitely,
Yeah, you can use tools as well for this sort of thing, which is Search Console, Google Search Console, to identify sort of dropped URLs, the sort of flow of the website, and sort of just work out how you don't want URLs or web pages that are broken, obviously, because that's a bad thing. That's going to drop people off immediately. Using tools like Search Console, if you don't know what it is, then quick Google will help you also.
Google it, no.
But yeah, we use it here a lot to help with schema markup and all that stuff, don't we?
Yeah.
So it's a helpful tool.
And the thing I love about Search Console, obviously I use it day in, day out in my role, but it's a free resource, and because it's, it works off of Google's data and what's already in its database, the data's there already. So once you set it up, you've got data to kind of plug and play with, and that report that you get from it, that page index and status, you get that free information from Google about if your pages are broken, which pages search engine crawlers might be going to, but not indexing, which means that they aren't visible in Google search. You get all that visibility, and as Tom said, you absolutely don't want any pages to be broken. Ideally, I mean, especially not product pages. If you've got blog pages or articles that are broken from way back when, you don't need to stress as much about that. But that's firsthand, the best way to understand if a page is broken. You've got that data there. You can just go in and fix it.
Yeah. Google's getting, with this core update as well, that was always a problem for every update. But like broken pages and stuff like that, you don't want those. But this update, every update, it gets smarter, doesn't it? So it's always looking for that sort of thing. So try and fix those things first, because that's always going to be a thing in the future updates as well.
Yeah.
And finally, for this is sites with strong buyer intent signals and supporting content perform better. So what we mean by this is we've pretty much gone for this, just provide value, really. Think helpful content as much as possible. That is the key thing. Your product listings, they're helpful to the user. Your images, they're helpful to the user. The videos, the testimonials, anything that we've said before, really. You just need to make those product listings as valuable as possible to the user. Because that is literally what this core update is looking for. And if you're not helpful and it is default and it is the same, then you're going to drop off. You're going to be beaten by your competitors, pretty much.
That's it. Like, if you're not doing it as the best, then your competitors will be.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you need inspiration on what that needs to look like, don't be afraid to look at your competitors. It's such an underrated tool.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
People often worry about looking to their competitors too much because they think, well, I'll be ripping them off, when it's not the case. Learn what's working for them and just do it better. I mean, that's like the foundation of capitalism, right? of all commerce, I suppose.
That's so true.
But genuinely, it's such sound advice, and we as an agency advise our clients to do the same, and we do that on their behalf. You've got to think about what's made it work for some of the big market leaders, and obviously you might not have the scope to fully mimic that or surpass that. But the basic principles of what makes a page work as well as it does, and how you can improve conversion rate optimization can be scaled out to pretty much a business of any size. You don't have to be Amazon to. Well, it helps. I mean, obviously we know Amazon.
You got that sort
Amazon
of
is
market,
Amazon.
Value sort of thing,
you don't have to be a business of Amazon size to have a page that functions as well as theirs does. So I think, like, if we were to expand on that, we'll come back to like the helpful content in a bit, but if we're talking like CRO, for smaller e-commerce businesses, what are like the biggest pitfalls you run into that might trip them up regardless of this core update, do you think?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is mobile responsiveness.
Oh god.
Like literally create people. Obviously everyone's on the desktop these days. If you're an e-commerce owner, you're probably on a desktop because you're obviously doing everything there. But you've got to think that all your customers are likely going to be on mobile first. So you have to create your website mobile first, because people they need a good experience first of all. If they don't have a good experience, they probably leave anyway. So that's the first thing. And straight away on their mobile, if it's not like that, then they're going to leave. So make sure your website is user friendly on mobile. Google are obviously looking at this. They always rank websites due to their mobile website now first. So it's always a key thing. It's very, very easily forgotten about because, as I say, a lot of business owners are on desktops. We're on desktop every day, but we need to think that it's mobile first.
And especially when you're like actually building a new website, or you're having someone do that for you, naturally you're going to build a website from a desktop. I mean, you'd be kind of nuts to build a website from a mobile, but a lot of people fall into the habit of just building the website perfectly for how it looks to be on desktop, and that is the right thing to do. You should be doing that too, but then totally neglecting that mobile appearance, because what would you say the split is for some of our e-commerce clients? It can be like 80-90% of users are coming from mobile, which is huge. That's like,
and you can find that data quite easily from Google Analytics and stuff like that. For your own store as well. Even Shopify will hopefully should tell you the where the people are coming from. So you find that information out and then work from there. But that is a pretty pro tip there.
Yeah, just don't neglect it.
I say pro tip. It's also just a common tip now because it needs to happen.
It's so true, and you hear it a lot. I mean, depending on how much marketing stuff you engage with, people always go, "Oh, it's mobile first," but it so is.
Yeah, so true. Yeah,
we sound like a broken record, but my God, optimize your mobile.
These days, people are shopping. They're shopping. They see adverts on TikTok. Maybe they come then from TikTok. They might know your brand from TikTok. They're already on mobile. Yeah. So you have to have a website that also works on mobile.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Brilliant. And I think just coming back to that helpful content bit as well, I think if I was going to talk about this maybe from an SEO perspective, which is becoming more and more acknowledged nowadays, and people are making more of an effort to do that. When you're creating, articles or blog pieces or informational content that you're going to hopefully attract new clicks with, again, it's putting yourself in the shoes of your user and genuinely asking, like, am I writing this because it helps people, or am I writing this because it might help the algorithm? And it's hard because you do have to play the game a little bit to, with SEO to write content that search engine crawlers are going to like and et cetera, et cetera. But make sure you're making things that genuinely address the common how and the what and the why around what your audience are searching for. How do I do this thing? What's the purpose? Like, why would I need that, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't have the content for that, your competitors definitely will, and you don't want to miss out on the clicks because of that. I'll give you a couple really useful tools in finding out what your prospective customers might be searching for that you can create content for. There's a really good tool called alsoasked.com. It will, if you put in a broad keyword, so say if you sell Nike trainers, you could put Nike. Is it Nike or Nike? It's Nike.
Yeah, Nike.
You put Nike trainers into it, and then you'll get a really good breakdown of what search queries people are using. That's information around that, like, what's the rarest Nike trainer, or what are the best Nike running trainers, and stuff like that. And those are the terms that people are actually searching for. So having content to directly address those things is quite powerful, I think. And then applying that principle as well on page as well, like in terms of helpful content with your product descriptions. Obviously you have to write aspirational stuff that speak to the experience of using your product and why it's great, but you need to have the core functionality. It's like if you're buying say you're buying jeans, it's like people will want to know, well, how tall's the model that's wearing them? I know I'm only 5'7", short guy. That model's 6'2", right? If he's wearing that size, it's definitely not going to fit me. You need that stuff. Keep it super, super helpful.
Yeah, 100%.
Again, look at your competitors.
The questions that they're asking, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hijacked your point there. Sorry.
Yeah. No. It's all helpful, isn't it? And hopefully will just help you get above the algorithm. That's all it is.
Yeah. So. Cool. Well, I think that's a very small, short whistle-stop tour, but I think those are the real things you do need to be worried about. I think with every core update, people panic and people start to throw a frenzy of, oh my God, everything I'm doing is not going to work anymore. It's not the case. Yeah. It comes back to, if your product pages are good, if they're easy to navigate to, if you've got useful content on there, if you're making it easy for your customers to buy, you generally don't have to worry.
No, it's quite easy. A lot of quite easy. But we work with a lot of e-commerce stores, and sometimes the smallest changes make the hugest difference and the biggest differences. So we've seen it firsthand, and obviously we're keeping track of these core updates as well, just to make sure things change. And we had this. Sometimes we have amazing pages that work, then sometimes they dip, then we have to reevaluate and try again, and that's what the internet is pretty much. But
just keep trying.
It's good fun.
Take an iterative approach, test things out, think, oh, I wonder, I've seen that my competitor, they have a button beneath the description there to view the extra additional bundles, and stuff like that. I should do that, try that, test it. Just always be looking at those little small things, but only if they're going to add value.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Brilliant. Cool. Excellent. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're here to help if you need it.
Yeah. Toodles.